Thank you for coming in the afternoon today. I welcome all of you to today's webinar, which is on interest subvention scheme under the Export Promotion Mission, which is the EPM. This is an important scheme. We have been asking for it for a long time, and the government finally gave it in the form that is before all of us. So we will understand what the scheme is all about. This is being organized by TEXPROCIL in collaboration with ICICI Bank. Friends, as you are aware, that access to affordable and timely finance is one of the most important factors to determine the export competitiveness. For an exporter, the financial cycle begins, in fact, well before the shipment actually takes place. All of us are aware of that. Working capital is required for procurement of raw material, for production, processing, packing, and other export-related activities. Even after shipment, there is often a financing requirement until the exporter receives payment from the overseas buyer. All this is all known to all of you. Therefore, the cost and availability of pre-shipment and post-shipment export credit has a direct impact on the competitiveness and cash flow of the exporters. The Government of India has over the years been supporting exporters through the interest equalization scheme with the objective to reduce the cost of export credit and support India's export competitiveness. The EPM approved with an overall outlay of rupees 25,060 crore for 6 years from financial year 25-26 to financial year 30-31 represent an important shift towards a more integrated outcome-oriented approach to export promotion. The mission operates through two broad components, Niryat Protsahan and Niryat Disha. Both are important components which government has announced. Under Niryat Protsahan, that is encouragement, the government has introduced the interest subvention support for pre and post shipment export credit for eligible MSMEs to reduce the cost of export finance and ease working capital requirements. The intervention provides a base interest subvention of 2.75% across commodities, subject to applicable conditions and ceiling, including a maximum support limit of rupees 50 lakh per exporter. So there is a limit there. It's not unlimited like earlier years. This is particularly relevant for the textile and cotton textile sector, where working capital requirements can be substantial and where exporters operate in highly competitive international markets. The objective of today's webinar is not only to explain the scheme at a conceptual level, but also to help our exporters to understand how the scheme can actually be accessed and utilized. Some of you may already be utilizing it. It's not as if you're not, and facing some issues while using it. During today's session, our faculty will cover very important practical aspects. Some of them would be an overview of the interest subvention scheme under EPM, eligibility criteria for exporters, benefits available under the pre-shipment and post-shipment export credit, application process and documentation requirements, the role and responsibilities of banks in implementing the scheme, important operational aspects, including the practical uses exporters should keep in mind while availing the benefit, and also problems and issues we understand some of the exporters have been facing, how to address them, how to take it forward and get them resolved as quickly as possible. If one is eligible for the amount, one should get it. And if one is not getting it, the reason should be very clear and we should be able to address those issues so that we are able to get the amount due to us. So this will be the format of what we will try to do during the session today. I would therefore encourage all of you to use this opportunity not only to listen to the presentation, but also to raise specific questions and seek practical clarification from our expert. And now let me introduce our expert, We are privileged to have with us Mr. Surender Bharadwaj, subject matter expert, trade division at the ICICI Bank. Mr. Bharadwaj brings with him an impressive 38 years of professional experience in banking and international trade. He was associated with ICICI Bank for nearly 15 years, and prior to that, he was working with Canara Bank and the Bank of Rajasthan. Over the course of his career, he has handled a wide range of areas relating to international export trade operations, including exports, imports, trade compliance, communication with regulators, policy matters, regulatory guidelines, process implementation, and training. His extensive practical experience, particularly in the areas of international trade, banking processes, and regulatory compliance, will certainly add value to today's discussion. I'm confident that participants will benefit immensely from his experience and practical insights. So with these few words, I request Mr. Surender Bharadwaj to start the session. Mr. Bharadwaj, over to you and kindly begin the presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. And sorry, I had a voice problem because I have a bad throat. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I am not able to share the screen actually. I'm not sure. I'm not able to share the screen. There's something issue on that.
Why is he not able to? Just help him.
Rakesh, can you just give admin rights to Surendra Kumarji?
Sir, already given. He's a co-host.
Acha.
I'm not getting that option.
Just Rakesh, have a look again.
Let's check.
1 minute. Have you got it?
Allow apps to share see your screen. It's not allowing actually.
Why? He'll do it. Rakesh, just attend to this, please. Why is he not able to open his screen?
Co-host किया है तो वही करेंगे.
Try again, sir. I think Rakesh is here. Just get on to this. I think now he's not able to open.
The allow option is not coming. Actually.
Allow option नहीं आ रहा.
भेजने के लिए हम लोग यहाँ से करेंगे.
देखो है क्या?
Co-host किया है. उसको बोलना.
Sir, can you please check again?
No.
No, it is not coming. Still not coming. Should I join again once?
Yes, sir.
Just a second. I'll just join again.
Yeah.
देख लें इसका.
Is my screen visible now?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. So I think there was some technical issue. So thank you very much for the introduction, sir. So we'll begin with which is one of the most popular scheme as of now for the exporters' point of view, the interest subvention scheme for pre and post shipment rupee export credit. Well, to begin with, from the title only, we need to understand that this subvention scheme is available only for rupee export credit. not for the foreign currency export credit that you are availing from the bank. So that concept should be very much clear that the subvention is being allowed only whatever rupee export credit that you are drawing from the bank against your limits sanctioned. We'll try to understand about the exports overview and the role of MSME because the scheme is mainly focused on these categories of exporters. We'll have a brief background on the export credit and the earlier interest equalization scheme. Why? Because interest subvention scheme is it's not a new scheme. It has been basically reintroduced now under the export promotion mission. Earlier till 2024, this interest equalization scheme was already in existence for the exporters. We'll have the overview of the current interest subvention scheme. What are the eligibility criteria and the benefits that are available to the exporters? Importance of the unique identification number, because that is one of the most important document that will make you eligible to avail these facilities, and obligation of exporters and bankers perspective. So first we'll just try to have an overview of our exports from the country. The cumulative exports mercantile was estimated at USD 860.09 billion for the year 2025-26. So there has been an increase of approximately 4.22% from financial year 2025-26, which was earlier as 825.26 billions. So you can see the comparison between the mercantile exports and the service exports over here. The contribution, the commodity that contributed to this growth was mainly engineering goods, electronics, organic and inorganic chemicals, gems and jewelry, pharma sectors, IT sectors, etc. And the export credit figures. The total drawing of export credits by the scheduled commercial bank. The RBI collects the data of approximately 41 scheduled commercial bank, which covers almost 95% of the total credit. It was of 11,270 crores as on 31st of March 2026. Now, this does not mean that the export credit figures are low. This was the drawing. That is, the exporters had availed this much of export credit from the banker's point, from the bank. So this is available in the balance sheet of the bank. And why export credit figure is mandatory? Because ultimately the subvention scheme is all related to export credit that the exporter is drawing from their banks. Scheme is mainly focused on MSME, and role of MSME cannot be denied as far as country's economic growth is concerned. They are the catalyzing enterprise development and nurturing all sets of business innovations. They cater to the domestic as well as the global market needs and are considered to be the backbone of ecosystem with wide range of services and products that we deal into. And they are also helping us in employment generation at a lower capital cost. Considering the fact that the MSE sector is almost contributing to 48.5% of the total exports of the country. So we can say that every second dollar that is generated in the country is generated by MSME. So that's what the power of MSME is all about. And the country is targeting to achieve approximately 1 trillion of exports by 2027. And considering the growth figures that are going on, this figure does not seem to be not achievable. We are very much sure that the country will achieve these figures by the contribution from by the MSME. Contributing to 31.1% to the GDP of the country, 35% to the manufacturing output, and they are the second largest employer after agriculture, with 33.5 crore employment generated, as the data is available on the Udyam portal, and from 7.61 crore MSME registered. So you can see the amount of contribution the MSMEs are giving, and that is why the government is focusing on the MSME exporters to provide them with various facilities, various benefits, various incentives, etc. So talk about export credit. So this credit facility was introduced by RBI way back in 1967 to make short-term working capital finance available to exporters at an internationally comparable interest rates. Why the need arises? Ultimately, the exporters were earning the precious foreign exchange for the country. And that is why the government came up with this subsidized introduction of export credit facilities to banks, where to the exporters from banks' point of view, they were allowed to avail both pre-shipment and post-shipment export credit, and in INR as well as in foreign currency also. The two important pillars of export credit availability to exporter was that there should be timely and speedy sanctions and disbursements. Considering the fact that there is a lot of competition in the international market, the orders need to be completed timely, and for that timely finance should be available to the exporter with a speedy sanctions. And the finance available should be affordable by offering competitive and internationally comparable interest rates. And that is why, depending on the market scenario, exporters were able to generate to draw export credit in pre-shipment and post-shipment credit, either in INR as well as in foreign currency, depending upon the total cost that was applicable to them. And during that period only, 2015, the government came up with this interest equalization scheme, which presently today we are calling it as interest subvention scheme. So again, this scheme was launched in 2015 to provide financial relief by offering subsidies on pre and post shipment export credit, which was to afford to reduce the overall cost of the export credit and increase competitiveness of the export credit sector. The banks were able to offer certain rates which were still considered to be costly as far as export from exporters' point of view was concerned, and that is why the scheme was introduced. This was extended and refined multiple times to keep pace with the market realities, and it was basically a key factor in strengthening India's export capability and supporting long-term growth. The scheme was last available till 31st of December after various renewals, and from 31st of December 2024, there was no further extension. The demand kept on rising from all segments, from all associations, from all export promotion councils, and ultimately in 2026, this export promotion scheme came into this picture. It was a flagship initiated by Government of India, which was jointly driven by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, the Ministry of MSME, Micro and Small and Medium Enterprises, and the Department of Commerce. Apart from that, commodity bodies, financial institutions, industry associations, state governments, export promotion councils were also part of this scheme that was brought in for the benefit of the exporters. What was the overall purpose? The purpose was to strengthen India's export ecosystem, which was facing a lot of global, there were a lot of global scenarios going on. Tariff was one of the case, crude oil prices, various factors are affecting the overall growth of the exports from the country. And particularly MSME exporters were facing a lot of constraints due to this. So this was there to support MSME exporters by providing trade finance support, market access, branding, overseas warehousing, and diversification into new geographies. So this was the first time that the government came into thought process of supporting the MSME exporters, both by providing a financial support as well as non-financial supports. So two integrated sub-schemes were addressed for exporters to enable to strengthen the competitiveness and the market readiness. The one was Niryat Protsahan Scheme, which was basically considered as a financial support for the exporter. Another one was Niryat Disha Scheme. So as an MSME exporter, what do? You often face challenges including working capital for overseas shipments. There are delayed shipments, the payment gets delayed, need for collateral or insurance cover, etc. was required. So this scheme was provided by offering support measures by way of cheaper credit, guarantee, insurance, factoring support, etc. This was helpful in reducing the financial risk and enabling to take more of export orders. So providing export credit support, export factoring, credit insurance, bridging the liquidity gaps, and easing out the collateral and financing burden for the exporters, the Niryat Protsahan Scheme was launched. Similarly, for the non-financial support. Now, export growth isn't only about productions, right? You also need to access the new markets. You also need to consider branding of your products. You also need to ensure quality compliance considering the international market requirements. You need to have some overseas storage facilities, logistic supports, etc. was there. So through the Niryat Disha scheme, emphasis was on helping exporters gain access to overseas markets, improve compliance and standards, building overseas warehouses, and branding Indian exports globally. So bifurcation of both these schemes ensures both financial and the market development side of exports are addressed. The schemes that was covered under the Niryat Prosan is interest subvention scheme for pre and post shipment export credit, which we'll be discussing today. We'll try to understand the scheme. Then there is collateral support for export credit through the CGT MSE factor, support for alternate trade instruments through export factoring, credit assistance for e-commerce exporters for 50 lakh of interest subvention was there, and 90% guarantee coverage was allowed for these e-commerce exporters. Then support for emerging export opportunities. And under the Niryat Desha scheme, market access support, trade regulations, accreditation and compliance enablement, logistics intervention for freighted transport, integrated support for trade intelligence facilitation, facilitating logistics, overseas warehousing and fulfillment. All these schemes have, as on date, been launched by the government through various trade notices, which you can find on the DGFT portal. So let us now come and discuss why the interest subvention scheme was needed at this point of time. It was earlier there, discontinued, and again it was required. The government objective was to reduce the financing cost of the exporters, to improve export competitiveness. Because of this, they were able to increase the export. The support was basically for MSMEs, which contributed to almost 50% of the exports of the country. This would help generate employment and also promote labor-intensive sectors. That was the government objective to launch the scheme. The benefits that we were expecting was MSMEs were able to get affordable export finance, which would have better liquidity for them. It would help in increased productions, improve cash flows, higher exports, and ultimately increase the profitability of an individual exporter as well. So this was the basic objective and the benefits that was expected out of the scheme. Let us now understand the scheme and the objectives and scope of it. Just for the reference point of view, the scheme was introduced through trade notice number 20/2025-26 dated 2nd of January, which was issued by DGFT, and this scheme has been amended from time to time to fine-tune the scheme as per the requirement, feedback from lending institutions, associations, exporters, various operational difficulties, and to technical compliance parameters. We'll try to submit the scheme with all the updated amendments that had come. This framework has become a part of the handbook of procedures under chapter 10. So any amendment that comes to the scheme comes as an amendment to chapter 10 of handbook of procedures. So this is also part of DGFT policy now. The objective of the scheme was to facilitate improved access to pre and post shipment rupee export credit for MSME exporters by reducing the cost of such credit. The overall impact of the scheme was to reduce the cost of the export credit that the exporters were availing from the bank, because interest factor was a major player as far as costing was considered. The objective was also to provide a rules-based and transparent interest relief mechanism aimed at enhancing liquidity for MSE exporters to meet working capital requirements efficiently. So overall scheme was developed in such a way, everything is digital under the scheme to benefit the MSME exporters. Again, being reiterated that this is limited to only the interest cost of the credit. The scheme is only linked to the interest cost, and it is not linked to the exporter's performance or pricing or quantities exported or export contingent condition. The overall impact is there only on the interest cost factor. And it was there to ensure that MSE exporters are able to obtain export credit on competitive terms, particularly in sectors facing higher financing constraints, without conferring any prohibited export contingent subsidy or incentive. The overall scope and coverage of the scheme was that interest subvention on pre and post shipment credit provided by eligible lending institutions, mostly lending banks, subject to the conditions notified by the competent authority, which is the Reserve Bank of India. And the support shall be available exclusively to eligible MSME exporters for financing export transactions and shall apply only to the interest cost in accordance with applicable financial and regulatory guidelines. So overall, the scheme of the scope of the scheme was to pass on the interest cost benefit to the MSME exporters on the rupee export credit that they are availing from their lending banks. Now let us talk about who is eligible. So any MSME manufacturer exporter and merchant exporter who holds a valid import export code. The import export code should not be suspended, should not be cancelled, and the entity should not be any denied entity list of DGFT, DEM. Exporters which have faced any compliances issues, which have not complied with the overall guidelines, have been put in the denied entity list. So if any exporter, MSME exporter is in that particular list, he is not eligible for the interest subvention scheme. That is for sure. Then there should be a valid MSME Udyam registration number. Both these documents are mandatory for the exporter to get this benefit. Third point is exporters who are availing export credit and dealing in DGFT notified positive list of HSN 6-digit tariff lines. So the scheme is not available to each and every commodity that is being exported from the country. There is a list of 4139 tariff lines, which is a part of DGFT notification 2025-26 dated 2nd of January. You need to check the commodity that you are dealing into. If it lies in that particular list, you are eligible for the interest subvention scheme. Now, considering the fact that the exporters keep on demanding and there is fine-tuning of the scheme goes on, another 167 tariff lines for Chapter 72, steel and iron, were introduced with effect from 20th of April 2026 by notification number 1. This list was available only for micro and small enterprises, not for medium enterprises. So every time there is an amendment in the scheme, you need to check your eligibility, whether you are eligible under that scheme or not. And the export credit should have been availed on or after the date of issuance of notification. So if any of the commodity of any exporter falls in that 167 list, then the subvention scheme would be available from 20th of April onwards only, not retrospective benefit to that commodity. The export credit facility should have been sanctioned by the lending institutions, which are normally the banks, in accordance with the RBI's consolidated directions on credit facilities in force, including in respect to period and structure. So that's guideline should have been followed by sanctioning the export credit facility. Now,
Hello.
yes. Yes, sir. Should I continue? Any question on this?
Surendra ji, you can continue.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Another thing is, since this is for MSME manufacturer exporters, some of the MSME exporters would have graduated out of this list. However, if they have graduated out of the MSME category, they remain eligible for 3 more years as per the MSME notification, as mentioned here, and subject to fulfillment of all other prescribed conditions. So these are the 5 important points that an MSME exporter should know, that they are eligible for the interest subvention scheme. Now, who is not eligible? Deemed exports are out of it. Any deemed export under Chapter 7 of Foreign Trade Policy 2023 is not eligible for interest subvention scheme. Account that has been classified as a non-performing asset from the date of classification, no subvention benefit will be there with effect from such date. So NPAs are not eligible. And no retrospective benefit on any addition in tariff lines. I mentioned about 167 additional commodities that got added. The benefit to that will be available from 20th of April, not from the 2nd of January. So there is no retrospective benefit. And interest subvention scheme admissible on or after date of inclusion, that is there. In case of a tariff line is rendered ineligible, then the benefit passed on pre-shipment will continue. But for post-shipment benefit disbursed thereafter, no such benefits will be passed on. So we need to understand the eligibility and the exporters who are not eligible, or the transactions which are not eligible under the interest subvention scheme. Now, talking about the key features of it. The benefit, the subvention is available at the rate of 2.75% per annum. As of now, that is the rate of subvention that is being given by the government. So exporters, MSME exporters can avail 2.75% per annum interest relief on eligible pre-shipment and post-shipment rupee export credit. Mind it, this is rupee export credit. there is a cap on the total benefit that is available. The total fiscal benefit is restricted to 50 lakh per financial year per I code. So that is where the importance of I code comes through. So per I code, since the data is being monitored through the I code of the exporter, benefit is restricted to 50 lakh. However, since the scheme was launched on 2nd of January, so for the period of 25-26, like January, February and March, the full cap will apply for those 3 months. There is no prorata on that. So irrespective of the date of sanction or duration of utilization during the pre-financial year, 25-26, complete full cap of 50 lakh of benefit is available for MSME exporter. The banks are required to pass on the benefits upfront. And claim should be submitted to RBI for reimbursement duly certified by external auditors. That is the present scheme as of 2nd of January. The interest subvention scheme is admissible only on the rupee export credit sanctioned or disbursed on or after 2nd of January, which is the date of the notification. So the date should be clear that it is available only on sanctions or disbursed on or after 2nd of January. The list 4139 list and then again 167 additionally got added. They will be reviewed periodically on the objective parameters such as sectoral MSME concentrations, export concentration ratios, labor intensity and other relevant considerations. There is no way these are linked to export performance on minimum export threshold. So you need to keep checking that list which gets periodically reviewed. This will be reviewed most probably in April and September every year. That is what the guideline says. Any revised interest subvention rate, presently it is 2.75. Tomorrow it may get revised to 3% or 2.5% also. Shall be applicable only to export credit facilities sanctioned on or after the date of such notification. So it is the date of notification which is important for applicability of the revised interest rate. And where a credit facility is renewed with a top up, you already have a 10 crore of limit, again 5 crore limit got added in your sanction. So the additional amount disbursed shall be treated as a fresh credit exposure. And that shall be eligible for subvention at the rate applicable on the date of export credit disbursement. So when the 10 crore limit was sanctioned and disbursed, say the rate was 2.75%. Again, there was a top up of 5 crores after 6 months. And at that point of time, the rate was 3%. So only for that 5 crore portion, the 3% would be applicable. For the remaining, the earlier sanctioned 10 crore, the rate of interest would be 2.75% only. And in case any loan amount is repaid before the stipulated period, then early foreclosure should be reported to RBI and benefit shall be applied for the actual period of credit remain outstanding. So these are certain key features related to interest subvention scheme. Now we are talking about the unique identification number. So unique identification number is one of the most mandatory document that is required from exporter. For availing any export credit under the scheme, the exporter must file an online intent on the DGFT portal. Intent to avail the scheme or the benefit. You have to file online intent. There is a link given on the DGFT portal. We'll take that later on in the slides also, how that where you can file that UIN. I know many of the exporters would be already filing it, but still who are new to this or who would like to avail this facility, we'll try to show that also. Once you file that online intent, you need to obtain a unique identification number which gets generated, and that needs to be shared with the bank's branch for availing benefit under the scheme. The UIN and UDIN both are considered as the same. They are same unique identification number. And normally when the UIN gets generated, there is a reference number which will be in the format of EPMIES and the numerical numbers would be there. This should be generated only for the notified positive list 4139 plus 167 additionally got added. Only for that this UIN number should be generated. The scheme was introduced on 2nd of January. Then again, due to some operational issues, there were certain amendments with regarding to generation of UIN. There was some delay in generation of UIN. On 13th of May, again, an amendment was issued by DGFT. So for the 25-26, the date of notification 2nd of January till 31st of March 2026. Interest subvention will be admissible even if UIN is generated after loan disbursal, subject to export credit is disbursed on or after 2nd of January 2026 and UIN is generated on or before 31st of May 2026. So this window was given to the exporters, considering the fact that many of the exporters were not able to understand the importance of the generation of UIN. Many of them got disbursed the export credit facility, but the UIN was not there. Some of them had the UIN number prevailing to that earlier erstwhile facility of interest equalization scheme, and the export credit was disbursed, but they did not have the UIN number. So wherever the UIN, the export credit was disbursed on 2nd of January 2026, on or after 2nd of January 2026, the DGFT allowed the UIN generation up to 31st of May 2026 for that particular case only. And the subvention benefit could be passed on application from the date of loan disbursal. Everywhere I am going to repeat this line, that it has to be from the date of loan disbursal, not from the UIN generation date. Mr. Krishan Singh has raised some hands. Can we take up the questions after the session, sir, please, if it's possible?
Yeah. We can take the question and answer session once the your PPT is over. Sir.
Yeah, because the flow will get.
Yeah.
So for the January 2025-26, the period allowed was up to 31st of May 2026 for generation of UIN, where the exporters have not generated. And from 2026 to 2027 onwards, the period of 15 days was granted for generating the UIN. So there was no mandatory requirement that the UIN should be generated at the time of disbursement. A 15 days period was allowed, and subvention again would be admissible from the date of disbursal if the timeline is met. If you are not able to generate 15 days, again that benefit will not be passed on. So our advisory is that exporters are advised to ensure that timely generation of UIN and compliance with DGFT guidelines to avail uninterrupted benefits under the scheme. We should be very clear about the scheme and the requirement and the importance of the documents that are required to avail this benefit. So make sure the UIN gets generated timely whenever you are getting the export grade disbursed. Again, in July 2026, again certain amendments were issued with regarding to the UIN generation and lodgement of claims by banks as well as for exporters, considering the fact that the scheme will get refined, fine-tuned every time there is some issues coming up. The association will keep approaching the banks or the DGFT or the Reserve Bank of India, putting up their operational difficulties. And again, the amendments get issued. So in July, again, there was an amendment issued by Trade Notice number 13. Any additional claim for eligible cases, depending upon the changes in the generation of UIN. Like in the previous slide, we said up to 31st of May, UIN could be generated for disbursement of export grade on or after 2nd of January. 15 days period was allowed. So any such additional claim that came up due to this, banks were allowed to submit the claim on or before 31st of July 2026. The period has actually already gone. This was related to export grade disbursed on or after 2nd of January, and UIN is generated on or before 31st of May 2026. So many of the accounts got eligible for subvention, and then the period of period up to 31st of July was given for the banks to submit the claim. Another query was, since the period is allowed up to 31st of May 2026 for the export credit disbursed on or after 2nd of January for the financial year 25-26 only. What about the disbursement which happened in 2026? Whether that period of 31st May is allowed for generation of UIN? No. It was clarified that the generation of UIN was only for that particular financial year 25-26 only. There was no extension to disbursement in financial year 2026-27. Wherein period of 15 days is allowed. So if any disbursement was done on 12th of April up to 27th of April, the UIN should be generated. That 15 days period will there. The additional period was given only for financial year 2025-2026. There was one clarification required whether separate UIN is required for pre-shipment and post-shipment credit or single UIN will supply. It has been clarified that there should be a separate UIN for pre and post-shipment facilities. The respective UIN corresponding to the relevant facility shall be used for claiming interest subvention benefits under that facility. This has been clarified. Again, one more clarity was many of the exporters are availing running account facilities. How will that be considered? What will be the applicability of UIN? Say, for example, there was a export credit disbursed on 15th of March 2026. And the due date for that was 10th of June. Now 2 financial years are there. For 15th of March, the FI ends on 31st of March 2026. Then there is interest charged on April, 30th April, interest is charged on 31st of May, interest is charged on 30th of June. 10th of June on the last date. Will the same UIN be there for next financial year also? It has been clarified that the UIN generation is valid for the financial year. So if his UIN is generated is 2025 and 2026, it shall be valid for disbursement done on 15th of March till 31st of March. We are talking about the same disbursement which continues as outstanding. From April onwards, from the same outstanding, you need to generate a separate or a fresh UIN. So please be very clear on this. Don't think that you have taken disbursement in the previous financial year and that is continuing till now. You will not require a new UIN. The UIN ends with the financial year. So claims to be filed against the UIN corresponding to the relevant financial year for which the interest subvention benefit is being claimed. So applicability of UIN is up to the financial year for the financial year only. The UIN reflects the financial year of disbursal. Subvention accruing in a subsequent financial year is requiring a corresponding UIN for that particular year. So don't make that mistake of thinking that UIN will continue. Time limit for filing claim shall be 1 month from the date of disbursement. This is for the banks. For past cases where subvention was not passed upfront, banks can claim this additional claims before 31st of January by filing it with the RBI. Additional claims pertaining to past, that is January to May 2026. January means 2nd of January, to be claimed separately and not clubbed or included in regular monthly incomes. So I know this is for banks only, but as an exporter, we should also be aware how the banks are claiming. Tomorrow they should not club that subvention with another monthly subvention being claimed, and only your benefits will get delayed out of it. So you should also be aware of these guidelines. So this was the amendments issued or clarification given wherein various operational difficulties were there, banks are approaching and exporters are approaching. So to summarize the subvention scheme for exporters point of view, or what is the exporter's obligation, please make sure that the claim is utilized. Subvention is claimed and utilized for export credit against eligible tariff lines only. That is your responsibility to ensure. Any misutilization or incorrect claim shall be liable for recovery, and there could be some penal action as well. Whoever are eligible and SME entry prior to applying for export credit, you need to file an online intent declaration to avail subvention on the DGFT portal. Once that is submitted, a UIN shall be generated, which needs to be submitted to the bank's branch. The responsibility of an exporter to ensure aggregate subvention claims remain within the prescribed annual ceiling if export credit is availed from more than one lending banks. So if you are availing export credit facility from more than one bank as an exporter, it is your responsibility that the total claim does not cross 50 lakh of rupees. That is your responsibility. Even banks, they have a responsibility, but what DGFT said that any banks can obtain an undertaking from an exporter on cross-bank interest subvention not exceeding the 50 lakh per IC limit. So it is ultimately the responsibility of the exporter. Any excess claim taken shall be recoverable, and there could also be penal charges for it. Each UIN shall correspond to one lending bank only. So if you're dealing with 3 banks, there has to be 3 UINs. If export credit is availed from multiple banks, separate UIN should be generated. If lending bank is changed, new UIN to be generated. portability of UIN is not permitted from one bank to another. No, separate bank, separate UIN. Because UIN shall be linked to the bank account specified in IC portal. And the rate of subvention shall be rate prevailing on the date of loan disbursement. That we need to understand. From banker's point of view, bank shall submit the reimbursement claim through designated portal within 15 days from the date of each month. This is bank's responsibility. They are required to maintain close and continuous monitoring of the borrowing accounts. And if there is any closure before the stipulated tenure, they have to inform to RBI. They have to ensure that the claim are being filed in respect of an UIN is specified to the year in which the disbursal of the credit was or is made. And this is the digital format through which the banks need to submit the claim for reimbursement. They have to register on online portal. Once registered, then they have to submit all the documents along with the list of the UIN borrowers. There, while submitting the claim, they can review the borrower's details also, which the borrower submitted at the time of filing intent. So once this is completed, bank submits the claim and the reimbursement is taken. Now here there is one more important change that has come up on 7th of August itself. There is a transition of implementing agencies. So in the previous slides, wherein I kept on saying that the banks need to claim to RBI, RBI needs to do this, RBI needs to do that. The interest subvention scheme, which was operationalized through RBI, was done on pilot basis. Now from 1st of April, EXIM Bank shall be the implementing agency for all operationalizations, portal management, verification and claim settlement. So there is no longer any role of RBI under the interest subvention scheme, except any legacy claims for the period of January to March quarter. Any additional or supplementary claim would be handled by RBI. Otherwise, now the authority is EXIM Bank from 1st of April 2026. So everything gets substituted by EXIM Bank, name of EXIM Bank instead of RBI as far as interest subvention scheme is concerned. Any impact on this? MSME, no impact, because ultimately you are claiming the subvention from the banks. So there is no impact on your role here. Only the agency behind the scene is changed. Lending banks, now they have to deal with EXIM Bank instead of RBI. So they need to change some internal process of theirs. And EXIM Bank, now they'll have a bigger role to play. So you can see that although these are very small changes, but they reflect that there is continuous fine-tuning of the guidelines to support exporter and system by the DGFT, RBI, etc., all the bodies involved. That is how the entities are keen on ensuring that the benefit passes on to the exporters. So that was on the interest subvention scheme for exporters. The intent filing on the DGFT portal. So what you need to do is you need to log into the online portal with your credential on the DGFT portal. Click on the services tab on the portal. And once you click on the service tab, you need to select the option export promotion schemes under the services tab. Click on apply for EPM schemes. And then you need to click on start fresh application tab. Once you click on that, you need to select interest subvention for pre and post shipment export credit. Click on save and proceed tab. And then, so this is how the DGFT portal will look like. You need to log in over here or register yourself. And then you can follow the steps that was mentioned in the previous slide. And then a form would be generated. You need to fill up the entire details, whatever is required on this form, depending upon your IC number, PAN, whatever information is required on that form. That is 3 or 4 pages that form is there. Once that form gets completed, there is an acknowledgement letter, which is basically the UIN number. So you can see here, I was talking about the format of it. So it is EPIMIES. That is the format that we get. So this is the acknowledgement, that number that gets generated. And this you need to submit to the branch bank from where you are availing the credit facility. The entire step is given in the trade notice 20 also. The steps to file the intent is given there also. If you want to see, you can check that notice also. Otherwise, it's a very simple step once you reach the DGFT portal. So that was the scheme that we talked about. Just as a case study, I have taken just for reference purpose that there is an exporter called Apex Scotsman dealing in export products, dealing in European market. Average export rate taken was say 3 crores from the bank. The bank is charging 9.5% rate of interest. The challenges are there are high domestic rupee export credit, 9.5% is a high rate as far as export credit is concerned. There are squeezed operating margins due to inventory accumulations, delayed payments are there. So here 2.75 interest subvention is applied. So effective interest cost will be 6.75%. So this exporter will save approximately 8.25 lakhs per annum if he is availing the interest subvention scheme. That is the power. So what are the key takeaways if you talk about? Upfront liquidity is available. There is immediate rate reduction, avoiding lengthy retrospective reimbursement claims. Working capital optimization is there. The savings are allowed. The savings allowed the company to reinvest in eco-friendly dye agents, meeting stick. Just an hypothetical example that we're talking about. And the annual cap is within the 50 lakh limits. They're saving at 8.25 lakhs if there is an export grade disbursement of 3 crores. Just to add another EPM scheme, that is, since it relates to interest subvention scheme also for exporters who are availing export factoring facilities. So DGFT notification there is there 25 number dated 20th of February. So wherever exporters who are availing export factoring facility, the eligibility is again same MSME manufacturer exporters and merchant exporters. Here again the subvention is 2.75 on the interest component of export factoring. Here again, the total benefit passed on is 50 lakhs per I code. Transactions are covering both recourse and non-recourse factoring. Factoring can be undertaken in INR or freely convertible currencies also. And who are the factors? RBI or IFSCA regulated factors. If factoring facilities availed from these factors, these exporters can also take interest subvention benefit. Same 2.75% at the rate and 50 lakh. This is over and above the export credit limit that is sanctioned with the banks. So some of the exporters could be having both facilities. They are taking export credit facilities from the banks and they are also doing export factoring. So there also that interest subvention scheme is available. So this is an add-on facility that I thought I should include in this presentation. So these are the various notifications through which various amendments are passed on the interest subvention scheme by the DGFT. They are just for reference purpose. You can also refer to them for some detailed guidelines. So just for the takeaway purpose, interest subvention scheme reduces the cost of export finance. It supports the MSME and labor intensive exporters. It improves your liquidity and cash flows. It enhances global competitiveness and encourages export growth. So to say it in a line, affordable export finance is a strategic advantage. It is not just a financial benefit. So what we say is success in export depends not only on the quality products, but it also depends on timely and affordable finance. By understanding and effectively utilizing this interest subvention scheme, exporters can strengthen their competitiveness, improve cash flows, and contribute to India's export growth. So that's it from my side on the interest subvention scheme. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Surendra ji. We will have a question and answer session after one small presentation from Malini Swami from ICICI Bank. Malini, are you there? Rakesh, can you just pass on admin rights to Malini? Yeah, Malini, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Good evening.
Please, over to you. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good evening, all of you. My name is Malini Swami. I'm from ICICI Bank, and I'm here to give a small presentation on the banking aspect for, especially for my importers and exporters. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so a lot of importers, exporters would be facing these challenges where on a daily, for your regular transactions, imports and exports, which branch do you connect to? How do you get the advices for your transactions? Which branch would be able to help you for your regulatory compliances in case you need to know about the charges? These are most of the queries which a lot of importers, exporters face. And for this, we have a solution which is called the Trade Online. You can go to the next slide. So Trade Online basically is a one-stop proposition for all my importers and exporters. It is a trade online platform which is enabled through corporate internet banking. Through this portal, you can do all your import-export transactions. You can settle your inward remittances. All your outward remittances can be processed through Trade Online. You can also issue bank guarantees, LCs, and you can also do the regularization of all your bills through Trade Online. Now, why trade online? Trade online, there is no additional setup cost. Trade online will help you save a lot of your time, since everything you only have to upload the documents. Okay, so you do not have to go as per the banking hours. You can raise your transactions as per and schedule your transactions according to your requirements. In addition to this, if you would also require any assistance in filing of any filing of forms in the firm's portal, we would be able to provide you capital advisory services. In case of any scenarios where you would need to approach RBI, then we as an AD would be able to assist you with it. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is round the clock. Like I said, Trade Online is round the clock. This is a digital platform enabled for importers, exporters. You can settle your inward remittances. If the inward remittances can be settled within half an hour, you can do your EFC to current account transfer, which is instant. You can schedule your outward remittances. Both your import transactions and your service payments can be scheduled through this. You can also place a request for your bank guarantee, your LCs, and also if any, you can also monitor your EPC and PCFC through the Trade Online portal. This is all paperless, and in addition to this, in Trade Online we have a facility where in case you want to give access to your accounts team, where you only want them to have access for the regulatory compliances, we could provide that. Okay, and we also have a master vault facility where you would be able to save your important documents, like maybe your ADI or maybe your LOA or certain contracts which you would want to save this, so that it is easily available while you are initiating a transaction. And this is available around the clock. So at any point of time, if you want an audit trail of your documents, this is also easily available through a Trade Online. You can go to the next slide, please. Few of the other important features of Trade Online. Now, like I said, you do not have to wait as per the bank timings. You can schedule your transactions. In case you're making a payment to the same overseas party, you can schedule the payments. You can have this saved as a template. Also, we have an Instabase app where the promoters or the directors, if there are any transactions which needs to be approved, or if they also need to settle any inward remittances, that can be done through the Instabase app. Instabase app, we are the first in the banking industry. That is one of our unique features. The other feature, like I explained, you can give the no view access to your accounts team. Also, we can also provide you customized alerts. So in addition to the registered mail ID and the mobile number, if the company wants that there would be 2 or 3 more people in the company who should get information about the SWIFT advisors, the debit advisors, you can register at least, you can register maximum 5 more email IDs and mobile numbers where you could customize your alerts and give it to them. You can also do the online deal booking through the Trade Online platform. Yeah, the next slide. Trade Online, we also have one unique feature. This is again all with respect to how to save the time of the importer exporter. So we have this one view dashboard. So the minute you log in, you can go to eDocs, you can view this one view dashboard. This is a one screen which will give you information about all your transactions. So all your pending bills which are overdue, any transactions which is pending at the branch end, any transaction which is pending at your end if it requires any approval, all this can be viewed in one screen, and from this you can click on that and it will take you to the whatever bills that you want to be checked. This you can this screen will also enable you to monitor your due dates of your bank guarantees, your LCs, your PCFCs. So this will help you in faster monitoring, and all this will be visible in one screen. You can go to the next slide. Few more unique features for our exporters. We have the Insta EPC facility, which they can avail it through the Trade Online. This is only applicable for those who are, they should not have any outstanding export order more than 30 days, and also their LEI needs to be updated. If these conditions are taken care of, they can avail the Insta EPC facility, which is very quick. You can go to the next slide. We have also included bank guarantee in our Trade Online, because bank guarantee is a product which is required, which is very, very time bound. It is critical that it needs to be submitted within the timelines which is given. So here in bank guarantee, you can raise the request through the Trade Online portal, and then you can have it collected from the branch. In fact, if there is no on-risk clause in the bank guarantee, we confirm that we would be able to give you the bank guarantee within 3 hours, where you can have it collected at the branch. Okay, so it's a one-step process. This is very, very quick servicing. Also, we have a bank guarantee text library in case you need any assistance to prepare the text of the bank guarantee and avail the services which is available through the bank guarantee text library. You can go to the next slide, please. So this is something extremely unique, which we have started, which is called the Trade Emerge. This is especially for our new budding exporters and importers. So when you start your import-export business, there would be a lot of questions in your mind about how to get started. We have tried to give all this information through Trade Emerge, so you should log in and view these features. So when you get started, what are the licenses that you need to start your import-export? And all the different guidelines, all this information will be available through Trade Emerge, and through it will automatically take you to the site wherever you want to get the licenses initiated. In addition to this, we also have tie-up where you would be able to get information of more than 15 million overseas buyers and sellers. Okay, so you could avail this facility for ICICI Bank customers. There would be a 1 month free trial period. You could utilize that. You could get in touch with these overseas exporters, importers to increase your business. At the same time, to know about these overseas customers, if you require any credit information about the overseas party, that also can be availed through the Trade Emerge facility, where again for ICICI Bank customers, there would be a discounted rate. So if you need reports like the DNB reports, this can be availed through the Trade Emerge facility. In addition to this, as exporters, importers, whenever you're looking for a logistics partner, you can avail the services through our Trade Online, where you would be able to get the service, you would get the quotes from service providers, and accordingly, based on your business requirement, you can decide on which service provider you want to go with. You can also avail insurance through ICICI Lombard. And in addition to this, any new guidelines, any new notifications from DGFT or customs, all this information would be regularly updated in our Trade Emerge, and we believe this is going to be extremely useful for all our importers and exporters. So we would urge you to use this facility. This is again a part of Trade Online only, so you can easily access it. So these are the main features of Trade Online. Please do contact us if you require any further information on any banking products of ICICI Bank. We are happy to assist you with your banking requirements.
Thank you, Malini. Thank you. And now we will open the floor for question and answer. So I request all participants come one by one, unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and then ask your question. Yeah, yes, Ji, I think you have some questions. Please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, Malini ji, it was nice to hear from you. I'm Yash Jindal. I'm from Claremont Home Textiles Private Limited. I'm an exporter based out of Ahmedabad. We are trying to talk to our bankers for the inter-subvention aspect of it, but they are clearly saying that we have not given any kind of inter-subvention to any of our exporters. And they are looking for examples that if any banker has actually given the inter-subvention to push it to their higher ups to get the inter-subvention aspect cleared. So can you help us with some kind of example that you have that ICICI Bank has taken a forefront and given inter-subvention to any of its exporters?
So, Mr. Jindal, you can write to us. We can understand your query, and then I will definitely help you with it. So, I will give you my email ID on the chat. I will
Okay.
also have somebody from my Ahmedabad team. So, we'll get in touch with you, and we will give you.
Why she doesn't know actually.
Just let me just put it up here. Interest subvention scheme has been launched by Government of India. No bank can say no to not passing on the benefits to any of the exporters.
Sir, the primary bank of India, SBI, has told me no several times, and I've tried to connect.
First, you need to check. Have you checked the eligibility? Have you
Sir,
checked
we
your
have
eligibility?
checked the eligibility. We have done everything possible. Even TEXPROCIL is in CC with all emails that I've connected with the bank with the banker. They are clearly saying that we have not got any confirmation from our higher ups to do anything. You can submit it to us, but we will let you know if we can give it or not.
No, I think, Rajgopal, you can take up this on behalf of the exporter, because there is no bank can say no to it. Banks are passing on this benefit to each and every eligible exporter who is an MSME exporter who has generated
I'm sure
UIN.
that you might have other people from SBI also on this webinar. If there are anyone, then they would be. I'm sure that they would be facing the
There
same
could be exporters here on this session also who would be availing these facilities, I suppose.
Surendra ji, can we raise this issue to MSME champion portal?
Yes, you can raise this to, you can write to SBI also, you can write to their zonal office, you can
Yeah,
write to
yeah.
their head office also, saying that, and this is not something that that is optional for the banks.
No, it's only
Export
a
promotion.
SBI Ahmedabad issue.
Sir,
Yeah, so
as far as what I've spoken to SBI over here, they are saying that they have not given it throughout India.
no, that that is not at all. It is not something like a reservation type that you can give to this state and not that state or something like that.
No,
Just
today
take
we
it
are
from
going to
the,
talk to the SBI bank, sir.
if talk to SBI
And,
Bank, you can take it through FIO also,
yeah.
through MSME chapter also. Every association can be complaint on this.
Yeah, we will take up through MSME champion portal is there, sir. It is only for this subvention scheme related issues, and there is one more online platform available on RBI website. So there also we will take up after discussing with
Now
this
you can
SBI
now you
Ahmedabad.
can include Exim Bank also, because they are also
Yeah.
the agencies that have taken the role of RBI.
Correct. ठीक है.
Yes.
Any other question? Anybody? Surendra ji, can you just see the chat box? I think there are some couple of questions there.
Yeah.
Our bankers inform to generate. Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, there is one question from Marie Premier. Our bankers
informed to
yes,
generate separate UIN for pre and post. Yes, that's what I
Yes,
said in
correct.
the slide also. For
Yes.
pre and post shipment facility, for separate facility, you need to have a separate UIN.
correct. Yeah.
So please generate separate UIN and let's give it. Don't lose interest just for the sake of generating UIN, sir.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Sir, I have one question, sir. We have applying current financial year for this scheme. Which are the interest rate will be less, sir?
Sorry?
It's sir, we are applying for 26-27.
Okay.
Currently, we are applying for the scheme. It will be time to take UAN. It's a 15 days for applying. I can apply for the bank. Then after 15 days time, or
Yeah,
before
within
we
15 days from the date of disbursement, you can apply for UIN, submit to the bank. Or you can generate on the same day also, or you can generate next day also.
Okay, on submit the application, after that we can generate a UAN.
Yeah. For the Mr. Mary, for the amount to be mentioned in UIN, whatever is the maximum amount of export credit you can avail as per your sanction. Even though if it is interchangeable, you can take pre-shipment 20 crores and post-shipment also 20 crores and apply UIN for 20 crores. Yeah.
Yes. Any question? Anybody?
And Mr. Krishan was there in the during the session. He wanted to ask something.
Yeah.
Is there?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sir.
good afternoon.
Yes, sir. I am from GTN Hyderabad. The interest subvention, what we have generated UDI numbers, etc., during the month of March. But the due date of the respective the packing credit, as you have mentioned already, running account, it falls somewhere in April or March, depends on 6 months normally we take. But we never been asked in the April to get any fresh UID number for that.
But then you will not get the subvention benefit, or are you getting the subvention benefit?
But that's what, when you are talking, then I had a doubt, because banker has given the benefit of that. Even they were not asking on the April 1st. Suppose 30th March I have taken, sir. The due date let us fall in the month of May or somewhere. But you are talking of that it should be taken again on the 1st of April.
Yeah.
See, what happens is, suppose you have taken the export credit on 27th of March. Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So interest would be applied on 31st of March, first interest. For
Okay.
that, you already have a UIN generated in that financial year up to 31st of March 2026. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now again that pre-shipment is outstanding in April.
Yes,
On
sir.
30th of April, again interest would be applied. Now to get that interest subvention benefit on the interest applied on 30th of April, and since the financial year has changed, you need to have a new UIN for 26-27 year.
Oh,
That is what I have been focusing on this same line only, that UIN has to be depending on the financial year. UIN should be generated for the FY.
but it was not asked, and we were given
You got the
2.7.
benefit out of it?
Yes,
You
sir.
got the benefit?
Yes, sir.
So tomorrow when there will be some audit.
That's what my
and-
worry.
Yeah.
So better, you better.
Get in
I'm
touch
not
with
sure.
bank.
See, what I am talking about here is it's the guidelines specified by DGFT in their trade notice circular.
Sir, that is
If
not
some-
correct,
if some-
sir. For 1 day, 2 day,
Yes, that
again,
is-
it's a taking is not a meaning in that case, because I had taken for 6 months or 5 months, whatever. Once
But yes,
UDI
even-
generated, that is valid for that amount of the whatever I draw
No,
that day.
sir. No, sir. That is what I am saying. It has been clarified in every circular that it is valid for the financial year of the disbursement.
Correct.
Please check the guidelines. It is valid for the financial year for the which the export grade disbursement was done. So once the financial year changes, you need to have the new UIN. That is what the guideline says. There is no if and but on that, sir.
Sir, one thing, disbursement is done for 5 crores. I
Yeah.
presume that if disbursement is over because I have given a UDI number, whatever the due date, I'll repay for it. Until then, my interest is to be charged either they take upfront or a monthly. Suppose if they take upfront, what will happen, sir?
No, interest in pre-shipment is always charged on the month end, sir.
Right, agreed.
It is only on the post-shipment that the interest is charged upfront. So if
Okay.
it is a pre-shipment, every month when the interest is debited, then only the benefit would be passed on, no, sir.
Okay, for a while we'll talk of the post shipment. I discounted the bill on 30th of March
Yeah,
and the due date is somewhere in April.
yeah,
So it doesn't, the interest is charged upfront for the post shipment.
yeah.
So-
So for
so
that
in
period,
such case-
whatever UIN was there, whatever UIN was there for that financial year, that would be applicable.
Yes, sir, that is only for 2 days, you mean to say. But
Yeah.
they have taken upfront fees, then there is no charge for that, no, until due date is already charged.
That is what I'm saying. Since in post-shipment case, no interest is further charged in next month, the UIN will not be required. But it is for the pre-shipment case that the interest gets charged every month. You need to have the UIN once the financial year changes.
No, my point is that it is not the case of bank charged or not. Tomorrow they should not say even post shipment, you have to give the UID number again for a post shipment also in the April.
No, that clarity was there. I think one of the slide I clearly mentioned that if any changes are there in the list, the post shipment given after that date will not be eligible. So UIN will be applicable only on the date of disbursement. That is what I'm saying.
That means a pre-shipment one norm and post-shipment one norm.
Yeah, that is there.
It is
That is why
what
different
confusing,
UIN
sir. But in the
it is-
past, this is the first time I am seeing the interest subvention. I've been taking a decades onwards. There was
I
no
know.
such condition of this.
There was no such limit also, sir. There was no limit of 50 lakhs also in
Unlimited,
other.
that is okay. I agree.
Yes.
Amount part, okay, government doesn't have money because they have a lot of free subsidies they have to give. Maybe that I cannot talk in the political. But in the decades onwards, when we are taking interest subvention, earlier 5% also, there was no such condition to take for 31st March or April, something like that, the UDI number.
Sir, that is what I'm saying, sir. The scheme has been launched now. The EPM has been launched with certain schemes the scheme has been launched with certain terms and conditions. So whatever terms and conditions are there for the scheme launch, we have to comply with that
Sir,
condition.
can
only.
I
We can
get a
leave it.
clarity, clear circular, what you are mentioning regarding
Yes, I
this?
mentioned. I showed you the trade notification number. See, if
No,
you
no,
go.
if you don't mind, sir, can I note down that? If you are, maybe.
Yeah,
Just a
sir.
second.
Yeah. Please share that slide.
Just a minute. I'll say. You can take a screenshot of it, or you can take a photo of it.
Yes, sir,
No
I'll take
issues.
it. Because I'm a bit surprised. This is, I never seen in the decades of this.
You can see the scheme.
No,
Yes.
all I'm seeing in which circular it is mentioned, sir? that every financial year it needs to be taken even for the old case also?
Sir, the main notification is this,
That is the 2nd
Okay.
January 26.
2nd
Agree.
2nd January.
I have
After
a copy
that,
with me.
after that, the amendments have come to the through various notifications.
No, that's what I'm asking. Which notification they were spelled out? It needs to be taken.
Then I'll just
The
read out.
notification later on which are given, either it should be before the 1st April. It cannot be given after the April.
Sir, you can always represent your queries, your operational issues through the platform to the bank, to the DGFT, because that's why they are generating, they're giving amendments after those
No,
issues
sir,
are coming up. So you
I can give any
note down.
representation. It is not that since we are in the platform, it is going to be useful for all the people. I am asking for that.
Yes, yeah. So this is the notice, trade notice number 13, wherein this clarification is there.
1 minute, sir. It is a dated.
Just a second. It's a July.
Yes, it cannot. They cannot make us a fools.
14th of July 2020.
Before April 1st, any notification should come before April 1st. Such kind of notification that UDI number is to be given again for the past cases also.
It's 14 July.
They cannot
It's 14
clarify.
July.
They cannot clarify with the way of clarification, no, sir.
No, I understand that, sir, but
Sir,
see,
in 2 minutes,
whatever challenges are there, any discomfort is there on the guidelines and all the
sir, since
references
you
will
are
be given.
expert, you are giving, I thought of you might have come across this because this was shocking to me. You can also generally imagine that, sir, if the original circular gives, I don't mind. But if they're giving a clarification in July, you are supposed to give in April, it doesn't have anything sense on that.
Just give me some time. I'll just
No
get
problem,
back to
sir.
you.
No problem, sir.
You can share,
Anyway,
you can share me your number also. And,
sorry, sir. This is an open platform. You can go leisurely. My point you understood. This should not be given a retrospective clarification. It should have given a prior to before April 1st. Then only it has got a validity.
That there is no amendment. The clarifications are given to the existing scheme only, where it was not understood on that part. That is what I'm trying to say. And every time the policy gets reviewed, the government comes up with the clarification basis on the representations given by the exporters or the banks or the association, etc. That's why the clarification keeps on coming as to what is being interpreted is correct or not. So that clarification will always come after the guidelines are issued. I'm not saying that. That is why they're giving the time also to submit. Earlier, when the disbursement was given, you needed to have that UDI number. But then the clarification came later on that 15 days time period is there, or for that period matter, 31st of May 2026 period was given. So that clarification will keep on coming, sir, of the existing guidelines only. Wherever there is a confusion in the guidelines or wherever there is any fine tunement of the guidelines is required.
First trade notice never speaks on that. That is what we had a doubt. Anyway, you can examine, sir, and you can share it to TEXPROCIL or to anyone in the. I can share my number and mail.
Yeah, Justiji, we will also go through all these notification and we'll see and we'll reply you. Don't worry.
Sir, Siddhar, sir, you understood now? This is only my worry. You can.
Yeah. We got it. We got it. Yeah. Yeah. Is there any question? Anybody? I think if there are no questions, I have some few announcement of our upcoming webinars, which are in September. We have webinar on Carrot Rules 2020. Then we have a webinar on Customs EMI scheme, eligible manufacturer importer, which will schedule in second week of September. And one more webinar on role of AI in cotton textile exports. That will be scheduled in the third week of September. So I request all of you to please watch our circular, register for these webinars and take the benefit of it. Thank you so much, Surender ji, for wonderful presentation. It was very simple and very lucid. Thanks a lot, participants, for joining this webinar. And thank you once again. Thanks a lot, ICICI Bank. Thank you, Malini. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.